You know Gray Bar for electrical parts, but there's one more thing you may not be thinking of us for that can help maximize your next project's total value. Our pre-project planning services are designed to help you win the bid, save on labor costs, and keep your installers productive across your entire build. The sooner you call us, the better. Because when we're there from the beginning, we can anticipate your needs and help you solve problems before they become problems. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
Latest episode of the Show Before the Show podcast, the official podcast of minor league baseball. It is Pitchers and Catchers Report Week, and it is also Tyler Mon, Benjamin Hill, and Sam Deisher Report Week as we report, as we do weekly, to this podcast. Right?
Ooh, that was your best intro yet. That was great.
It only took me 450 episodes.
Yeah, but finally you've achieved perfection, and
I've nailed it. I got to leave like George Costanza now. That's it for me. Go out on a high note.
In this scenario, how do you guys identify? Are you a pitcher or a catcher?
You know,
or what did you envision yourself more as like a kid coming up?
Probably a pitcher. I've never had the physical ability and like the dexterity. Even nowadays, if I were to be like out with a kid in the backyard and he's throwing to me and he wants me to like catch my curveball, like if my nephew's doing this, if I go into a catcher's crouch, if I squat for like 2 seconds, I get up and I'm like, oh, my knees are gonna hurt for a week now. That's what it is at 38 years old. So I guess I'd be on the mound. Ben,
what kind of pitcher?
Not a good one.
Not
even like when I pitched when I was a kid, I could just locate. I didn't have anything. I could locate, which like when you're a kid, that's half the battle. So I was like decent, but then I still vividly remember my freshman year of high school, first day of practice, our high school pitching coach goes, we used to practice at Denver City Park. We didn't have our own field, so we would practice at City Park, which is this massive park. And he's like, all right, pitchers with me. So we all walk over to the pitchers group and he goes, all right, first thing, give me a park lap. And I was like, oh, this is pitcher. I'm actually, I'm just a position player. And I just left and never ran and never pitched again. That's the story of my pitching career. Ben, what would you be?
I never identified with either of those positions. I did make 2 appearances on the mound in my Ambler junior baseball days. And in one of them, I had a 3-pitch inning, which I was just like so impressed with myself. I basically threw these big, they were almost like ephus pitches, not by design, but it was just like really all I had. But I was a very small kid. I've since grown into a very hardy, full-grown man. But I was a kid, very small, and really all I ever identified with was second baseman, and a little bit later the outfield. I couldn't catch, I couldn't throw, at least in terms of playing those positions whatsoever. I had a good run though. I had a good run.
What about you? You didn't answer.
I didn't. I have played both. When I did like slow pitch softball, like my first year of college, the summer of with like a bunch of my high school buddies, I was a catcher. And I remember there was a play at the plate and I thought I was going to get Buster Posey'd. Like the ump legitimately came up to me. Yeah. I was like, oh, there's going to be a play at the plate. The guy's rounding third. The ball's being relayed to home. Like, I'm going to set myself up. I'm going to stick my leg out and I'm going to try to trip him up. And he's just like, don't
you
do
took
that.
It seriously.
Yeah. He's like, don't do that. You're going to get destroyed. That's just not a good idea. And I was like, no, I'm trying to be a physical catcher. He's like, don't.
In slow pitch softball, intramural slow pitch softball.
That 40-year-old is going to break your leg. Like he does not care about your 19-year-old.
That's incredible. I am on the verge of playing baseball again. This summer I'm going to play in a men's league. And the other day I got a text from like the dude who was like, what positions do you play? And I was like, I haven't played in like 16 years and I'm not going to play any position well. So why don't you just tell me what you need and I'll do my best to hold it down. As long as it's not shortstop, pitching, catching, really anything that's that important.
Center field, maybe.
Yeah. Center field, no. If you want to put me in a corner outfield spot, sure. That's about all.
There we go. Yeah. I still identify myself more as a pitcher, though. Like, I still think of pitching more, maybe because
I would see you more
such an art to it.
Yeah.
But even in Little League, I remember kids making fun of me for being like, you are the slowest pitcher in this league.
Hey,
But
man,
at the
that was
time,
Greg Maddux. Look at what he
right.
did.
Well, see, my idol at the time was Tim Wakefield.
Oh,
I was like, you
okay.
can be a slow pitcher and make it to the big league. So I'm
Right.
I'm leaning into this. I'm just
Right.
throwing what you think are changeups the entire time, or just
It's just
knuckleballs.
that happens to be my fastball.
Yeah. Until I realized, like, for a knuckleball, you need good nails, and as a nail biter, it's not my thing.
Let's get rolling on this week's episode of the show before the show podcast. You can get in touch with us, podcast@milb.com. By the way, we've gotten some cool emails as of late. And let us know your questions, especially headed into the 2024 minor league season, as they pertain to prospects or whatever else. But let's kick things off with our good pal Benjamin Hill, who's got a story up on the site, the newsletter, and an interview that we're going to have here shortly talking about Bowling Green. It's the second straight week in which we've mentioned Bowling Green. And weirdly enough, last week we mentioned Bowling Green, and then I sent you guys a message on Instagram because it was the 10-year anniversary of when the sinkhole opened up under the Corvette Museum and swallowed all those cars, which was an eventual Bowling Green Hot Rods alternate identity. We had no idea that that was like an actual anniversary that was coming up, but that was kind of cool and timely.
Yeah, a decade has passed since Sinkhole opened up under the Corvette Museum in Bowling Green and swallowed a bunch of classic cars. That did inspire one of their all-time best alternate identities, the Sinkholes. And now the Bowling Green Hot Rods are at it again with the Cavemen. So,
we're in a time when everybody seems to be rebooting Cavemen. The folks at Geico also, and that's not a paid plug, unfortunately. We'd take that insurance money. But what's Bowling Green doing? It's probably a lot more inventive than Geico.
well, I mean, we'll get into that because I spoke to General Manager Kyle Wolz all about the Caveman identity. It's their third cave-related identity if you tie in sinkholes, which is part of the that subterranean ecosystem in the area. But the team has also done a cave shrimp identity, which was actually the first ever what could have been promotion in minor league baseball, which caught on over the years. They were, of course, the sinkholes, and now they're the cavemen. So I just like that backstory of the caves in Bowling Green, the way the ballpark was built, so as not to potentially run into a sinkhole and lose a lot of time and money, and the way the team still is able to celebrate that. So yeah, I talked to Kyle Wolz, general manager, all about it.
It's football season, and you can now get almost anything you need for game day delivered with Uber Eats. What do we mean by almost? Well, you can't get a running back delivered, but you can get baby back ribs delivered. A strong defense? No. A strong deodorant? Yes. A six-pack of abs? Nope. Six-pack of beer? Yes. Get almost anything for game day delivered with Uber Eats, official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Alcohol 21 plus and in select cities. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
The Bowling Green Hot Rods have a new identity, alternate identity, the Bowling Green Cavemen. And like all minor league alternate identities, there's a story behind it. So we have Kyle Wolz, the general manager of the Bowling Green Hot Rods, here to talk about it. Kyle, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So Bowling Green Cavemen. I mean, everyone knows what a caveman is, our prehistoric ancestors. But in Bowling Green, it's not just cavemen, as in a prehistoric club-wielding figure. There's a dual meaning to this. Can you go into why Bowling Green is suiting up as the cavemen?
Yeah, when we were brainstorming this idea, I guess it would have been toward the end of 2022, given our timelines nowadays. Eric, our former president at the time, myself, and then Ashley Wilson, were sitting down and thinking of what creative, unique idea that we could come up with for an alternate identity. We play as the Bowling Green Bootleggers, which was 2016 promo of the year. And then, we also last year played as the Bowling Green Hot Dogs. So we were just trying to think of something creative, something that ties into Kentucky, to Bowling Green. And we came up with the Bowling Green Cavemen, to pay tribute to the natural wonders that are in Kentucky. We have Mammoth Cave system about 20 miles up the road, which is the largest cave system in the world. We also have here just in our backyard is Lost River Cave, probably less than 5-minute drive from the ballpark. So they're pretty unique features, that make up Kentucky, and it was something that we thought was a great idea to kind of play on to of like on the what could have been promotion. We talked about earlier that we at one point in time we could have been the Bowling Green Cave Shrimp. That was a name thrown around before we became the hot rods. We've done the hot dogs, we've done the bootleggers, and so coming up with another unique brand and identity has been fun, and excited to roll it out.
Yeah, so caveman, there's obviously the immediate visual of a caveman, the prehistoric figure, and then obviously there's the backstory that you just explained. So in terms of creating a visual for this, what did you want to end up with in terms of things that maybe combined or had reference to both of those things, the obvious caveman connection, and then as well as Bowling Green's history with the caves themselves?
Yeah, so we work with a designer, Brandon LaMarche with 32 Designs, and he does a fabulous job with all of our brands. And we gave him kind of some of our inspiration of, like, hey, might be what we're looking for. This might not. We wanted to do like a prehistoric caveman, and we didn't want to copy the the trends of nowadays when you see it on TV commercials and so forth. So wanted to be a little unique. Obviously holding you can look at it either way, a stalactite or stalagmite bat, and is also around his feet. But those features you also see on the jersey that we'll wear this year. And so when we're looking at coming up with our inspiration on it, we it's kind of where we were at. The colors from it, no significant tie. We really wanted something that popped, and so we thought more of a neon, even though you don't really see much of that in the cave system, but wanted to be a little untraditional in a sense with that.
Yeah, and I meant to look this up before we started talking, but stalagmite, stalactite, which one is pointing up and which one's pointing down?
I get confused with them all the time as well. That's something that usually I have to Google every time somebody asks me, to be honest with you. It's a unique feature. You can see it in both in the jersey where based on how the color is highlighted, and you can see them the kind of the downward trajectory as well as the upward trajectory on those.
Yeah, and so you'll play as the cavemen on multiple occasions in 2024, possibly beyond, but one season at a time. How far down the road have you gotten in thinking, what are ways we're going to build upon this identity, what fans can see at the ballpark, any partnerships with local caves? I don't know how it works, that kind of thing.
So, we're still in the process of finalizing the promo calendar, and, we're going to play at least twice as the Cavemen. And, we're working with both of the caves around here with Mammoth Cave and especially Lost River Cave. If you saw our promo video when we released it, we actually filmed that in Lost River Cave. And so we have a great partnership with them. They're a local nonprofit as well. So, opportunity to be able to help support with them and help them showcase, their programs and what they have to offer. It's exciting to, roll something out to be able to give back as well to help within the community. And, we're excited. We're still putting the final touches on it. We are working up something extra special for the last one. Can't necessarily roll that out yet, but it'll be toward the latter part of the season and we'll announce that hopefully soon.
Yeah, and this is obviously a road you've explored before, or a tunnel, or I'm not sure what the cave exploration term is, but as you already mentioned, the Bowling Green Cave Shrimp was one of the original identities in the Name the Team contest that ended up with hot rods, and you've since the team has since gone on and had a cave shrimp identity on occasion. Then of course there was the Bowling Green sinkholes dedicated to the Corvette Museum that had a sinkhole open up underneath it and a bunch of classic cars went in. So I think now this is, if I'm not mistaken, kind of cave or local geology identity number 3 along these lines. I mean, have you thought how much further it can go, or do you think you're just only thinking about the cavemen right now?
right now, we're focused on the cavemen. There are some thoughts in the back of our minds that we have floated around. Nothing that's really, sat with us. Like, oh, we really need to do this. But and we get the question a lot. And this is kind of part of the reason. One of the reasons why that kind of inspired this is about the ballpark and the facility where it's built. As you saw when we made the announcement, it's very unique to have locker rooms in the outfield. And part of that's because, according to legend, that they, said that when they were building the ballpark, the developers didn't want to dig too deep because they feared that we were built on a cave system. So, your traditional ballparks where you come out of the clubhouse and walk right into the dugout, that doesn't happen here. Our clubhouses are located in center field. They come through the center field gate. And definitely was able to be a unique tie to the brand, and what we were looking at.
Yeah, that's the next thing I actually wanted to hit on is the unique ballpark architecture because of potential sinkholes. I like that you say legend has it, as if we're talking about something hundreds and thousands of years ago.
Yeah, it kind of ties into the caveman-esque.
Yeah, so it's all part of the legend. Are you aware for sure that the ballpark is on sinkholes, or is it more that that mindset of, hey, there's a lot of them around here, and we should be cautious?
I think it's more so the mindset. That's prior to my time with the team. I got here in 2014, so I'm not really sure. It's just from what I've been educated on about the ballpark's history, leading up to now. There have been conversations about that, and I think more so it's just the fear of if we dig too deep, what are we going to get into, type thing, and it just kind of makes it a unique story to tell.
Yeah, I can't think of any other minor league ballparks that are potentially placed atop sinkholes, and it's a pretty cool claim to fame, if not maybe a little unsettling for you as an operator.
Yeah.
To constantly be wondering if this is the game in which the field gets swallowed up or something along those lines.
Right.
But it'd be good publicity, so that's the main thing. And I think to close it out, I mean, you've mentioned several of the alternate identities that the team has done. You had a lot of success with bootleggers over the last couple of years. We mentioned the cave, well, of course, the cavemen, but the cave shrimp, the sinkholes. Bottom line is that the Bowling Green Hot Rods as an organization, I think more than most teams, has embraced alternate identities. And what is it about this promotional concept or trend that has really spoken to you as an organization?
Yeah, that's one of the greatest things about working in minor league baseball is the untraditional theme nights, as well as you have your traditional ones with Princess and Pirate, and Wizard Night, Star Wars Night, and so forth. But to be able to roll out a unique concept, a different brand identity, it really allows you to get the creative juices flowing for our entire front office. We're including them in all the meetings and discussing, how can we execute this properly? What do we need to do? Making sure we're checking all the boxes. And that's the best thing about, like I said, minor league baseball is that you get those unique brands, unique identities. They're like the one-offs. And we really enjoy being able to, execute that, and showcase, what, we could have been, as well as, just a unique experience at the ballpark that night.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the focus now being the Bowling Green Cavemen. Hopefully, it'll really catch on throughout the community and throughout minor league baseball. It's already an underground success, I mean, so to speak.
Yeah, we sold some merchandise already, quite a bit actually. We're just on a pre-sale stage because we don't have it in hand, but it's really kind of starting to take off for us, and we're excited to see where it continues to go.
Cool. Well, looking forward to seeing the cavemen on the field, and looking forward to seeing the inevitable next alternate identity down the line, whenever that may be. So, Kyle Wolz, general manager of Bowling Green Hot Rods, soon to be temporary general manager of the Bowling Green Cavemen. Thanks so much for joining me today on the Show Before the Show podcast.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Bowling Green, very good creativity from the Bowling Green Hot Rods, who will take flight. Not really. It's not really a term that you can apply to cavemen. But they will take the field as the Bowling Green Cavemen here in 2024. I like the look. It's kind of a different color scheme than what we're used to seeing from Bowling Green. I like it though. They do such a good job with all this stuff.
Yeah, and this is the way my mind works, and this is very dumb, and there's no actual tie-in, but I was thinking of cavemen and trying to make puns, and the Hot Rods are a Rays affiliate. And isn't there, was it president of baseball operations, Neander?
Oh, Eric Neander.
Eric
Yeah.
Neander.
Yeah,
And I was
Eric
like,
Neander.
you get like Eric Neander to throw out a first pitch when you're the Cavemen because you're a Rays affiliate, and like his last name is well on the way to Neanderthal. And then I'm like, what are you even talking about? Just stop.
I do
That's the
love
way
that
one's mind works when they're in this world for too long.
I do love that they, we've talked a lot about how like every team has a logo that has a character swinging something as a baseball bat. That's like a tried and true baseball staple. But I do love like the Cavemen work so perfectly because the club that the Caveman is swinging in the Bowling Green alternate like that's the thing that you see in every Caveman illustration ever anyway. That works perfectly. It's very odd sometimes when you see like, oh, here's this, I don't know, here's this chicken swinging a chicken bone, and that doesn't make any sense. But this works perfectly for Bowling Green.
Yeah, although I think you can swing anything you want and call it a bat. It doesn't have to be made of wood. And who knows what a caveman's club was made out of? I mean, did they even use clubs? I mean, or did we just really create that stereotype? Yeah.
Might have to do
walking
some
around
research on
clubbing everything. Grow up.
All right, Ben. Well, someone in the same ish kind of region, the Appalachian League has a new identity in 2024. You got a chance to write a story about the Appy League's newest squad, the Tri-State Coal Cats, which is kind of like Cool Cats, which is fitting because I like their logo. What are the 3 states involved in Tri-State for the Coal Cats, Ben? Pop quiz, hot shot.
Yeah, Tri-State. When I wrote this story, I think I wrote Tri-City inadvertently a number of times, and then had to go back and make sure I wasn't doing that
because there used to be multiple Tri-City teams in minor league baseball. We used to have the Valley Cats and the Dust Devils, and now there's just one with the Dust Devils. But yeah, there used to be multiple Tri-City and a Quad Cities franchise. Now we have a Tri-State.
Yeah, and Tri-City Valley Cats are still around in independent ball, but yeah, not in affiliated. And the Appalachian League is not affiliated anymore. So I was glad to get a chance to write about them. I'm always looking to cover partner league stuff as well as affiliated stuff. And I hope there'll be more room for that in the future. But Tri-State, to get back to your question, Tyler, Tri-State, the team is based in Huntington, West Virginia. And the other 2 states are Ohio and Kentucky. It's like Southern Ohio and, a portion of Kentucky there. Huntington is located at the confluence of 2 rivers. One of them's the Ohio River. One's the name I can't remember. It was like the Guyandot. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that right. But yeah, there's those other 2 states right there. And, in talking to the team, 2 of their front office members, Jason Camp and Sean Collins, they were just saying we didn't want this just to be Huntington's team, but because we're so close to those states and want to draw from the rest of the other regions, we will also be, we will call ourselves Tri-State. The Coal Cats name, the Tri-State Coal Cats, is a reference to, you guessed it, coal mine. There's a lot of coal. There's still coal industry in that area today, but obviously in the past it was pretty much what that economy relied on, and what accounted for the population growth in those areas first and foremost. So, they're throwing it back to the past, referencing the working class roots of the area. I think they're cats just because it sounds good after coal, coal cats, you got sounds like cool cats. You got the alliteration. It's a pretty sharp logo. And one of the primary colors is green. It's Marshall green because they will be playing at a new ballpark that's being built right now. It will open in time for the Marshall baseball season. And so it'll be one of those arrangements where the Marshall, was it the Thundering Herd?
The Thundering Herd.
Yeah, the Thundering Herd play their season. This is their first on-campus ballpark ever. They had played elsewhere in the past. So they'll do their season, they'll finish up, and then the Coal Cats will come in and play the Appy League season. That is now a 48-game season that starts in early June and runs through July. Comprised summer collegiate, comprised of younger college players. I believe it's mostly like rising freshmen and sophomores. So it's a nice dual usage for that facility. I'm sure in building it and with all the associated costs, they wanted to get the most bang for their buck and the most revenue coming back in through the facility. So to have an Appy League team take the field right after the college team makes a lot of sense. And Huntington is replacing Princeton in the Appy League, Princeton, West Virginia. A couple weeks ago, we had a longtime Princeton Rays general manager, Jim Holland, on the show. And, he gave a lot of information about what Princeton, West Virginia was like. And it's sad to see that town lose its Appy League team after about 3 decades, even more. But there's a new future in Huntington, which also used to have Appy League baseball in 1990 through 1995. So it marks the return after almost 30 years of Appy League baseball to Huntington. One of the cool things in the Coal Cats logo is there's a logo of just a paw, a cat's paw. And then like the 4 little paw pads, it actually says they're made out to resemble TSCC for Tri-State Coal Cats. And it's subtle. It doesn't just jump out at you.
Yeah,
but,
I'm looking at that right now. That's very cool.
I see Tyler as a longtime logo Easter egg aficionado, nodding in appreciation. And the logos were designed in-house by Marshall University, their head lead graphic designer, Dylan Winters. So it all ties together.
Also, there is a line in here that the conversation, Jason Camp, who's the general manager, made a comment that, and I would have never known this. He said, we went round and round with Marshall and their creative team about what we were going to go with. They are going to have one of only 2 cybersecurity schools in the nation. So we talked about, for instance, the cyber ninjas and those types of things. But we really wanted to bring it back that this is a blue-collar town, blue-collar area. It's about mountains and coal and the generations that have worked hard to create this community. Very cool, but I think we know our what if night identity for the Coal Cats.
Yeah, cyber ninjas. It's funny. That's really cool. They're opening, this full-on cyber security facility at Marshall, one of very few in the entire United States. It's a cool thing. But when he said that, I was also like, even though that's so modern and looking toward the future, cyber ninjas also to me sounds like something from like the late 90s.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that would have been in that movie, The Net.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, oh, they're hacking into the mainframe, these cyber ninjas. What?
Yeah.
What does that mean now?
Yeah, the movie Lawnmower Man comes to mind, even though I remember nothing about that movie, but just these early visions of like the internet and the cyber world. There's something about the word cyber that feels kind of dated.
Yeah, a little dated. It's like when people say surfing the net, you're like, this is in 1998 we're having this conversation. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. The cybersphere. Remember the term blogosphere?
The blogosphere. I want the blogosphere to come back. That was one of my favorite spheres in internet history. So
of all the spheres, that was a good one. Well, the story on the Tri-State Coal Cats is up at MLB.com right now. And Benjamin Hill, good stuff as always. Tell the good folks where they can find the newsletter at all.
Newsletter at all. Well, you can subscribe to that through the newsletter registration page. And I do not have that URL on me, but
it's in the newsletter sphere.
Yeah, the newsletter sphere. Please subscribe to the Ben's Biz Beat. It is the link for it is pinned on my Twitter account at Ben's Biz, Instagram the Ben's Biz. I'm writing for MILB.com. I'm writing for MLB. I'm on this podcast. I think most people know where to find me, but please consume as much of my content in the Benosphere as you are able.
Okay, before we wrap this up, though, Ben's got a quiz for us, Sam, and I'm obviously going to whoop you, as we are all aware. But all right, Ben, well, let's hear it.
All right, yeah. I was thinking we were a little thin on this week's contest, so this is a pretty this week's podcast. So I thought I'd put together a little quiz for you guys. Please play along at home. I will give you a team name, a name of a defunct minor league team, and you have to say what current team that is. And it's not super complex. I didn't go back like 4 or 5 locations. It was the location of that minor league team before it moved to its currently operational location. So I have 10 of these.
Okay.
I
I thought you were going to give us like, we'll give you the team name. You have to give us the geographic, like we talked about the Red Sticks that were in Columbus, Georgia. We'd have to be like, Columbus. But
Yeah.
okay.
Well,
this is
I think we'll
challenging.
do.
Yeah, we can do that too.
Bring that
coming
in
up.
at some point. Some of these I think are fairly obvious, some not so much. I don't know if I should switch back and forth, or I just say the first person to answer gets the points.
Okay.
2 points if you just get the answer right away. 1 point if no one can get it and I give the league and someone gets it. And we'll try to keep it quick moving.
All right.
Okay.
I'm not looking at your paper, by the way.
No, and I'm holding it away from Sam.
Yeah.
All right, let's start
Nails.
with the Edmonton Trappers.
Oh.
Tyler.
Is that Salt Lake now?
Incorrect.
Dang it.
Sam, do you have a guess?
Edmonton Trappers would be. I'm swinging and missing here. The one that came to mind was the El Paso Chihuahuas.
All right, it is a PCL team. So for 1 point, one more quick guess.
I'm going to go with the Fresno Grizzlies.
Incorrect.
Dang it.
Albuquerque Isotopes?
Incorrect.
Sacramento
answer
River
is-
Cats.
The Round Rock Express.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah.
All right, I think this
All
is
right.
going to be
not good.
Gonna be
We're
tough.
not
This is going to be
doing
tough.
Sam and I are tied at 0.
And also the fact that you said PCL and Tyler said
And
Fresno.
we went
Grizzlies.
down like half the teams.
Oh
in
yeah, that's
PCL.
California League. Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh yeah. Well, I was thinking when Edmonton moved,
I
that
had the
was a
same thought.
PCL franchise, Fresno,
Yes.
which is
Yeah.
now, of course,
I had the
California
same
League.
thought. Fresno Grizzlies actually would have been my second guess
Yeah.
had you not said PCL. But anywho,
All right, how about this one? The Orlando Rays.
I have a thought, but the thought that I have is a team that no longer exists, so it's not them.
yeah. it's not bad. Were you also thinking
ooh.
Port Charlotte?
I was, yeah. I was thinking the Charlotte Stone Crabs.
Yeah, this is a tough one. So now for 1 point, because I got to get you out of the FSL.
It's
Southern League.
Yeah, it's the Southern League. I knew it was the Southern League because in the rookie, he pitches for Orlando before he goes to Durham.
Oh, right. It's a Southern League team. The Montgomery
Tyler.
Biscuits.
Correct.
Oh, it
1
was the
point.
obvious one just sitting there? Okay, fine.
1 point for Tyler Mon.
Yes.
All right, for
Taking my
number-
big 1-0 lead. Insurmountable, Sam.
I should have
Yeah.
said Montgomery because I was thinking like, well, that's the Rays affiliate, but how long have the Biscuits been around for?
All right, this one I'm going to admit Tyler might have an edge on this one. Danville 97s.
Myrtle Beach Pelicans. Yeah, baby.
That should count for one. That should count for one because he already had the internal hint.
And previously were the Durham
That wasn't
Bulls.
fair. You're right.
They were previously the Durham Bulls. They moved to Danville for 1 season in 1997. And then they moved to Myrtle Beach back when Durham was an A-ball team. Anyway.
Yeah.
Which also
All right.
people might
We
know
can wipe
because of
that.
Bull
I
Durham.
get it, Sam. It's fine.
If this comes down to
We'll review.
you can
We'll-
play this
we'll
under
review, yeah.
protest, yeah. Southwest
Under
Michigan.
protest. You are near the commissioner's actual office. You could just
Yeah,
right, we'll
yeah.
take
Write
this
a note.
upstairs.
We can
right
just
this
head
second.
right up to the 7th floor. I do it all the time. He's mitigating all my disputes these days. The Southwest Michigan Devil Rays.
Yes.
the
Tyler.
Great Lakes Loons.
Correct.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
One, nice one.
Also, there's a very weird, like a Southwest Michigan something. There's a weird, one of the weirdest minor league team logos of all time. It's like a weird letter M. That was a team located in Michigan. It's like an angry, like a cat, but it's a
I
letter
think that's
M.
the Battle Cats.
The
right?
Battle Cats. I think
Yeah.
that was the Battle Cats.
the
Yeah,
Battle
that's a
Creek.
weird one.
Yeah,
a
that's
weird
Battle
one.
Creek.
Battle Creek.
Yeah. Okay. Tough one. Southern Oregon Timberjacks.
Southern Oregon Timberjacks.
The Hillsborough Hops.
Incorrect. They were the Yakima Bears.
Oh, that's right.
The
I covered
Southern
the Yakima Bears.
Oregon Timberjacks. They are currently still a minor league affiliated club.
Yep. Every one of these.
So it's not like a Pioneer League team.
Nope.
Southern Oregon Timberjacks. Was it Jacks with 2 X's?
It
should
was
have
not.
been if it wasn't.
Just official Jack.
I'm gonna go with the man. I don't know. I got no idea. Cal League team, I'm assuming.
Vancouver Canadians.
Oh,
If you
interesting.
remember, there was a PCL Canadians that played through
Right.
1999. They relocated, and I can't remember off the top of my head where they relocated to. But then the Southern Oregon Timberjacks filled the void in Vancouver, and they started their Northwest League history there.
Okay.
I gotta look up that logo. Oh yeah, I know that logo. The guy swinging in like the very 80s pullover looking uniform with the Sansa belt pants, swinging the bat in the mountains. Sorry, that was a very like. Anyway, please continue.
Sarasota Reds.
Daytona Tortugas.
Incorrect.
Sarasota Reds. Yeah, I don't know.
Bradenton Marauders.
Ah, okay. Yep, that makes sense. That makes sense. Because they were in
Yeah,
Bradenton as a spring training facility for a minute. Okay. Yep. Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
I was going Reds to Reds, and I completely forgot the Daytona Cubs
Yeah.
existence.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
With the surfboard.
Shreveport Swamp Dragons.
Oh, this one I feel like we've talked about recently.
We have.
Shreveport Swamp Dragons. Oh man, this one's gonna drive me nuts because I feel like we've had this discussion relatively
League.
recently.
Texas League?
Is it the Springfield Cardinals?
It is not. Sam, do you have a guess? Get on the board.
Jesus.
Oh, I know who it. I think.
Northwest Arkansas Naturals?
Incorrect. They were the
Oh.
Wichita Wranglers. We have the Frisco Rough Riders.
Oh, I was gonna guess Northwest Arkansas also. Okay.
I was just trying to think of teams we talked about recently.
Right. And teams that are like somewhat close in that area.
Yeah.
The Nashua Pirates.
The New Hampshire Fisher Cats.
Incorrect.
Dang it.
They moved from elsewhere. The Portland
Oh, yeah.
Seahawks?
Incorrect. It's the Eastern League. That is the Harrisburg Senators. or the
Oh, okay.
Pirates.
Interesting.
All right, 2 more. Still a chance for you to get on the board, Sam.
Still a chance for you to at least get one of these.
This is tricky as I'm going through.
Yeah, this is a tricky. I like this quiz. This is fun.
I like this quiz too.
The Charleston Charlies.
Augusta Green Jackets?
Incorrect.
The Charleston Charlies, because the West Virginia Power have used a Charleston Charlies logo as their logo.
They have.
But the Charleston Charlies are no longer. Are the Charleston Charlies the?
Well, I'll give you you guys a league hint. International League.
Oh, the Norfolk Tides.
Incorrect.
Dang it. They used to be the Tidewater Tides, which was the same area. Anyway.
Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp?
Incorrect. The Columbus
Clippers. Dang it. I was going to guess that.
Yeah, there was the Columbus Jets in the International League. They
Yeah.
left, went to Charleston, and became the Charlies for however many years. There you go. Tyler's holding up the Columbus Jets hat. And then that franchise relocated back to Columbus to become the Clippers. So when
Okay.
Columbus, Charleston, back to Columbus.
Which Charleston are we talking about here?
West Virginia.
West Virginia.
All right, one more. I don't want to editorialize, but you guys are going to get this one, so be quick. Piedmont Boll Weevils.
I think that is the Rome Emperors.
Incorrect.
Dang it.
Oh, I thought you were going to get it.
Man, this is tough. This is a good quiz.
Weevils.
I do remember when I was a kid, that was like on the minor league baseball hat poster. I remember that one. I was like, oh, that boll weevil. I don't even know what that is.
Yeah. I know there's.
Sam looks like he's pouring sweat. He looks like that gif of Jordan Peele from Key and Peele. That's what Sam looks like right now. Like his hair is all
It's on
disheveled.
the tip of my tongue, and I'm so annoyed.
Sam, you can admit defeat. It's okay.
No, I want to get this one. Piedmont.
Piedmont.
I'll go back to Augusta Green Jackets.
Like Kannapolis.
Ah,
Oh,
Cannonballers.
Yep.
Formerly Intimidators.
Piedmont Boll Weevils. But you know what? Now that I think about it, that was a bad choice, because I don't think there was a relocation involved there. I just think they changed the name from representing Piedmont to Kannapolis.
Well, it was a former
okay.
name.
Yeah, but that
Okay.
I was trying to go for relocation. It's not my best work there.
Man, that's
Even
good.
taking away, I shouldn't have had one on there. I put this together quickly. I shouldn't have had one on here, that about Myrtle Beach Pelicans with a formal Pelicans broadcaster in the house. But even taking that away, Tyler,
I still won by the whopping score of 1-0.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are people playing at home who did significantly better.
No.
Although we can't prove that, and they can't prove that to us.
Exactly.
Because I'm going to just assume they were Googling
Right.
home.
But this is a good lesson. I'll think of more categories. And
Yeah.
I love
like
doing this.
I'll try
stuff.
to.
This is one of my favorite things we do now on the pod.
Yeah.
Are these little quizzes?
But I'll
Yeah,
try
and
to-
if you want to go see a super weird logo, go look up that Michigan Battle Cats logo. Evidently the Battle Cats, that was a name that returned to Battle Creek, Michigan, in the form of an alternate identity for the Battle Creek Bombers, who were in the Northwoods League. I don't know, but anyway, if you look up the OG Battle Cats logo, that is a weird logo, very weird logo. The Michigan Battle Cats. Strange.
It's always about Battle Creek. I've heard people say that before. Those who
strange.
worked there never forgot it.
They also were previously known as the Madison Hatters in Madison, Wisconsin. And
That's a great name.
they appear to have a logo of a mouse wearing a big top hat leaning on a block of cheese. But it's like a block of Swiss cheese, which isn't really what Wisconsin is known for. That's a whole, man, what a logo history in between the Battle Cats and the Hatters.
Because the Hatters makes you think of Alice in Wonderland.
Right.
With the Mad Hatter was just a person.
Right.
With a big hat and
that's true.
A little loony. But is the mouse like a link to like the White Mouse from that led Alice into the
Oh, maybe.
and then
maybe.
they want cheese and mice like cheese, therefore
It doesn't even really say that the Hatter's name. It doesn't really explain the.
I mean that's what
reference
they're
to the
going
Hatter's
for. They're
name.
going for the Mad Hatters.
Yeah, the
Like,
Mad
let's
Hatters. I
not-
guess so.
We don't
Yeah,
need to
that's a little-
overthink this.
It's a little weird. They also they took the place of a team called the Madison Muskies, which also has a very 1980s graphic logo. All right, anyway. That was fantastic. I think we should do more of those. Benjamin Hill, you can find all over the social medias, as he noted, at Ben's Biz and the Ben's Biz on the website formerly known as twitter.com and Instagram as well. And you can check out all this stuff at MLB.com and MILB.com. Good stuff, Ben, as always.
Thanks.
You gotta tone it down on the intellect level, because Sam and I aren't that smart.
Yeah, I realized that. I came in respecting you guys.
Yeah, I realized that.
I realized that by the end of it, I respected you too much, and that's my biggest takeaway. So, live and learn. Live and learn.
That is, yeah. Yeah. Do not give these guys too much respect. It's played out.
Yep. Well, I'll be coming in next week with reduced respect, and then we'll continue to calibrate as we proceed.
Who are the
Next week-
Jacksonville Suns now? Any
Yeah,
guesses?
next week it'll just be like, where did the Pawtucket Red Sox go? What are they called now? Thanks, Ben.
Thank you, guys.
Rolling along on this week's episode of the show before the show, it's spring training time. And obviously, the excitement continues to build for the 2024 Major League and Minor League season. And as part of that excitement, today, and we were recording this on February 15th, Major League Baseball announced a broadcast schedule for the inaugural spring breakout games that will showcase some of the top prospects in baseball. Each Major League team will field a team of top prospects to play a team of top prospects from another organization in exhibition games. There is a promotional video out voiced by Orioles all-star former top overall prospect Adley Rutschman, which kind of gives you an idea of what fans can expect during the spring breakout inaugural edition. The rosters will be announced live on MLB Network on Thursday, March 7th. with Matt Vasgersian and Harold Reynolds. And some spring breakout participants will be on MLB Tonight that night. But all kinds of fun games are ahead, and the broadcast schedule announced. Spring breakout games will be carried live, basically all of them will be carried live and blackout free on MLB.com, MLB TV, and the MLB app. And the network will have 5 games live as well. Sam, there is a lot, obviously, to pair out of this new initiative. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've got some Q&A formatted stuff up on the site and MLB Pipeline in the breakout frequently asked questions, and also a prospect to keep an eye on for some teammates who could be headed to or some prospects, I should say, that could be headed to spring breakout. But give us, the excitement for this is pretty obvious. What are some things that really highlight this from your vantage point as being somebody who's going to get a chance, obviously, to cover this and to see it all come together?
Yeah, I mean, for one, I think having the broadcast schedule out there is huge. That was one of the things that I got a lot of questions about on social media when spring breakout was first announced. And there were a lot of things happening behind the scenes in terms of trying to get, or trying to determine what games would be covered by the network and which games would be covered by RSNs and all that kind of stuff, because we want as many people to watch these games as possible, right? The whole point is getting these prospects on a big stage and getting fan bases to watch them. So the fact that virtually all of these games, there are some that are still TBD. There are some that unfortunately won't be broadcast, but for the most part, every game is going to be on TV in some way or online in some way. So that's super exciting that a lot of people are going to be able to get to see these prospects up and close. One of the other things that stands out to me too, and this is part of that FAQ story that I wrote for MLB Pipeline, are the rules that are going to be incorporated into spring breakout. Starting with, it is a 7-inning game. It is an exhibition. A lot of these guys are minor leaguers who are not reporting now, as pitchers and catchers are, like we were talking about earlier, or position players shortly. So they're going to be ramping up. It's a shorter game, limit the opportunity for injuries. But teams can agree to do a 9-inning game if they so choose. That's more likely in games that are like that is the one game of the day and not part of a doubleheader with the major league spring training game. So the Padres and Mariners have already decided and agreed with themselves that they will be doing a 9-inning game. So that's super exciting. That's one thing to just kind of note. One other thing is that the ABS challenge system will be coming to select games in spring breakout. Those are specifically ones that are FSL parks. So Bradenton, Fort Myers with the Twins, not with the Red Sox, Jupiter, Port St. Lucie, and Tampa, and then Salt River Fields at Talking Stick, which used the ABS system in the Arizona Fall League. So it'll be 3 challenges per team per game. And if you win your challenge, you get the ball back, or you get it back. So you keep going until you have 3 unsuccessful challenges. This is something we've talked about in AAA, in the Florida State League, in the AFL. I think everybody who has seen it likes it. Because it's not full ABS. It's not a robot umpire the entire game. It's just trying to correct what teams feel like are the mistakes. And they happen pretty quickly. It's the pitcher, the catcher, or the batter. They're the only ones who can challenge a call. They simply tap their head or their helmet. It gets put on the big screen. Everybody can see it. And it's over pretty quick.
It is very slick. I mean, it's the type of thing, like when you see video of it, you're like, oh, that works really smoothly. Like it's not something where they go under the hood and
there's no monitor
review.
involved.
Right, exactly.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty instantaneous. And it helps right calls happen. And also one of my favorite things is figuring out team strategy with the ABS challenge system, because you might have like the first pitch of the game you think is 2 feet outside and is called a strike. But do you want to use it that early? Because if it's unsuccessful, you've lost a challenge on literally the first pitch.
Right.
So teams try to hoard them for later innings. But if you really, really think it's a ball and it was called a strike, you might try it early. It'll be interesting to see how that kind of works out. But because these are all prospects, some of them may have already used the challenge system. So this isn't fully new to all of these folks. So it might be new for some fans. It might not be, but that's something that'll be coming. The 3 batter minimum not a thing in spring breakout. We're trying to get as many pitchers involved in some cases. So, if you get brought in for one pitch for one batter so that another pitcher can be showcased, not a problem for this. There's also player reentry, which I wrote, like, think of this as the Otani rule. If a pitcher's taken out of a game, he can come back in later in the game. It doesn't necessarily have to, at least the rule as I saw it was written, doesn't necessarily have to be uh, as a batter, even though I called it the Otani rule. But I mean, it feels like it's kind of written for two-way players. Somebody like earlier in the week, we thought would have been Reggie Crawford of the San Francisco Giants, but he's announced that, or the Giants have announced that he's going to be pitching only. But there's some other two-way guys out there that this could affect. So something to keep an eye on with that as well, to keep in the back of your mind. There will be a pitch timer. There will be pitch comm. There's only 7 mound visits per game, but just some of the little different rules that are going to be involved in spring breakout. And it's another opportunity to put those front and center in a big game like this, that normally by mid-March, everybody's, I don't want to say tuned out, but the excitement of spring is starting to wane a little bit as we wait for opening day to come around the corner. And this injects a little bit of energy right back into it.
So stay locked for the roster announcements coming up on March 7th of 2024. And Sam, as we're headed towards spring training, we are kind of getting into that spot of the spring now where you think like, okay, well, among the guys that I'm most excited to see from a prospect standpoint, who might be somebody who I'm going to see on a big league roster, whether it's at opening day this year or shortly into the season. You guys have a story up at MLB Pipeline right now. 30 prospects to watch in big league camp, one from each team. There are, the big names out there. I mean, obviously, everybody knows that there is a very good chance that we're going to be seeing Jackson Holliday on the Orioles roster come opening day, if not in very short order afterwards. But who are some of the more interesting guys, maybe lesser known guys or intriguing storylines for spring training this year?
Yeah, the way we wrote this story was to kind of avoid the guys who we know are going to be on opening day rosters who are still prospects. So Evan Carter, Jackson Churio, those types, Mason Wynn, Nolan Shanuel, like guys who are virtual locks to make their major league opening day roster. We didn't want to write about that. Jackson Holliday, you bring him up, Tyler, like he's on everybody's mind, but he is included in the story because it is a question of, is he going to be on the Orioles opening day roster or are they going to go elsewhere? Mike Elias has talked pretty openly about Jackson Holliday is going to get a lot of run at second base, right? Like they have an opening at second base. Seems like they prefer a lefty hitter there. Jackson Holliday is a lefty hitter, so he's going to get a lot of opportunities to win that job, but he still has to do it. So we'll be keeping a close eye on Jackson Holliday for sure. Another one two more that I don't think are necessarily below the radar, but still somebody I'm going to keep a close eye on are Junior Caminero of the Tampa Bay Rays, because you look at him last year, hit 31 homers during his age 19 season. The Rays brought him up for the postseason. They brought him up a little bit before that as well, just to get his feet wet, but then he was on the postseason roster. Hits the ball as hard as anybody in minor league baseball. Should be a player they make room for, but his best position is third base, and Isaac Paredes is coming off his own 31 homer season. And he's not necessarily somebody you want to move right now. And I know there's a lot of questions about the shortstop spot. Junior Caminero played shortstop earlier in his career. Does he maybe get a look there and you kind of just shrug away the defense because the bat is so good? I don't know. We'll see how that's going to work out for Caminero. I think he's good enough to play in the major leagues every day right now, though. And if you're Tampa Bay, you want those guys up. You want to maximize your offense as much as possible. So we'll see how it goes with him. He doesn't have AAA experience yet. Unlike this other guy I'm going to talk about here real quick is Wyatt Langford of the Texas Rangers, last year's number 4 overall pick. Obviously climbed very quickly through the Rangers system, reached AAA at the end of last year, slugged above 600 everywhere he played, showed really good swing decisions, was always in the conversation for the number 1 prospect in the 2023 draft. But, Paul Skeens, Dylan Cruz, the 2 LSU stars, Max Clark went ahead of them. So the Texas Rangers, the World Series champs, have this guy fall into their lap. They quickly pick him up. He is as good a performer in the first in his first season as anybody in that class. He's knocking on the door, surely. I mean, the bat looked ready at Florida, and it's certainly looking even more ready now. The Rangers seem set in the outfield. I still think he's one of their three best outfielders. I would put Leody Taveras on the bench. I know he's really good defensively and was about a league average bat last year, but put Evan Carter in center, Wyatt Langford in left, and Adolis Garcia in right. That's a strong outfield. And Bruce Bochy has said they're open to the idea of him making the opening day roster. How open are they? Like, if he has an OPS of 1,200, like, you can probably bet he'll be on the opening day roster. If he has an OPS of 700, are they still open to it, or they send him back to Round Rock? We'll see. One other one I'll throw out real quick. This is a non-top 100 guy, but just seems the type of player who can really seize a hot spring, and that's Victor Scott II with the St. Louis Cardinals. I know the Cardinals have center field options. It's to the point now where, like, Dylan Carlson, who was once an actual top 100 prospect, isn't the opening day center fielder. But Victor Scott, man, the guy can run like anybody, and he can defend like anybody. He can cover the gaps exceptionally well. It's plus defense already. And I could see him being electric in spring, just spraying the ball everywhere, stealing a dozen bags in a dozen games. And St. Louis looks at the end of the Grapefruit League and be like, how can we leave camp without this guy? I mean, he could, if he's in the majors for a full season, he could lead the majors in steals. I have no doubt about that. Maybe he doesn't get on base enough as he adjusts with the bat, but like, there are certain parts of his game that are absolutely major league ready. And I could see it happening where he gets just hot enough to really force St. Louis's hand. And this is a year they're trying to bounce back. They can't afford to leave their best guys, in Memphis. So if they think he's a better option than Dylan Carlson, maybe Victor Scott II makes the team, and that would bring a lot of electricity to St. Louis.
All right, Sam, as we get close to minor league opening day coming up in April, there is a story out from Baseball America and JJ Cooper that the complex leagues, the Florida and Arizona complex leagues, apparently could be moving up by about a month. Last year, those two leagues started on June 5th. They went through August 22nd. This year, according to this report, they'll start on May 4th and they will finish on July 25th. That obviously is a big change for, what we used to call short season ball, but the complex leagues now are kind of the only remnant of short season ball. According to the report, all 30 teams discussed changes to the complex leagues last season, and farm directors voted to move the season up for some various reasons. But the interesting thing about this is you really go from a league that is kind of set for the idea of draft players jumping in and getting their first taste of pro ball to now it's going to be a lot more structured toward international players seemingly coming into pro ball and getting that look in the States for the first time earlier. Walk us through what these changes might mean.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of a waterfall effect, right? Of there not being short season leagues anymore outside of the complex leagues. So you have these guys who are in extended spring training for a while. You have fewer spots for them to go. Either they're getting pushed to single A early, and we've seen a ton of that the last few years, or they're languishing in extended. They might be too good for extended. Like, there's just so many factors here. And the fact that if you were getting to the end of the complex league season before, you would have guys on that roster who maybe couldn't pitch because they were recent draft picks who, had pitched a ton in college or pitched a bunch in high school, and you didn't want to tax their arms anymore. So now this is giving more opportunities to DSL guys and allowing them to get those innings in May instead of, again, like in August when their arms are already going through it. We'll see how this is going to kind of work. I mean, I'm fascinated, and JJ Cooper notes this in his story, the fact that if the season is wrapping on July 25th, there's still potentially going to be draft signings after that. So what happens to those guys in terms of starting their Rule 5 clock? It seems like MLB is going to, plug some of the holes in that rule, so that won't necessarily be an issue. But normally you have to be assigned to a team during its season for your Rule 5 clocks your Rule 5 clock to start. So that's going to be kind of fascinating. I don't know. I mean, I'm all for like short season ball starting earlier. And so we're not waiting to see some of these guys come up from the DSL for 2 months, starting that 1 month into the season. It's going to get us answers on some of these players a lot faster. And that's certainly exciting to me because there are a lot of really interesting guys coming up from the DSL this year. But, how is it going to affect draft picks? We're going to have a little bit less data on some of these guys. I'm not one who usually looks super hard into what happens after a draft season, especially in the complex leagues. If you're a guy who's played in the SEC and you get sent to the Florida Complex League, that's a step down for me. You could destroy the league, but that doesn't tell me much. Or if you don't do well, you played 50, 60 games of college ball. You might be fatigued at that point. So that doesn't tell me much either. There are some exceptions like Wyatt Langford we talked about earlier, but he was reaching AAA. He wasn't in the complex level anymore. So I think this is going to be, it's one way to kind of see through this change of, it's more opportunities for DSL guys, but I think it's going to take a few years until we see really how it affects how we view prospects and how it affects their development.
So, some changes coming here in this 2024 minor league season. The stories about spring breakout and the prospects to watch in big league camp are up at MLB Pipeline right now. And we'll step aside. Josh Jackson stops by with Ghosts of the Minors next. And then we're back to wrap up this week's episode of the show before the show.
Interrupt this podcast to bring you another thrilling edition of Ghosts of the Minors. Now, here's your correspondent and host, Joshua Jackson.
Welcome back to Ghosts of the Minors, in which all of you out there in Radioland must identify the legitimate historical ball club or player hiding amidst the fraudulent pair. One once tried to win the whole thing. The others were never anything. In the last segment, I asked you which of the following minor league baseball teams did at one time exist. A, the Kilgore Boomers. B, the Dresden Millennials. C, the Fort Riley Xers. I heard you loud and clear if you picked A, the Kilgore Boomers. You'd think they were okay boomers, but they weren't from Oklahoma. Instead, they represented a rapidly growing Lone Star town some 70 miles over the border from Shreveport, Louisiana in the East Texas League for a couple years before the Second World War. Kilgore was originally an 1870s railroad town, but underwent a slick rebrand as an oil burg with the nearby discovery of black gold in the fall of 1930. Indeed, the city had burst onto the ball field not as the Boomers, but as the Gushers in 1931, and later would dig in as the Drillers. But with the formation of the East Texas League in 1936 came a new franchise in Kilgore, which had a steeply declining population, some have it below 500, at the time of the oil strike, but skyrocketed its way to becoming a bustling metropolis of over 6,000 souls by 1940. And so, the Kilgore Club of 1939 busted out with a new moniker, the Boomers. The Boomers Ball Club was a boon to Kilgore, but it just about killed and gored the rest of the league right away. The 1939 team, featuring red-hot Eddie Knobloch and Vance Scrivener Randolph and managed by Jimmy Dalrymple, went 80-59, besting every other East Texas squad save the slippery Henderson Oilers, who wound up 4.5 games ahead of the Boomers. The Oilers, though, went bust in the finals when the Boomers got into their groove, sweeping Henderson 4-0. For that 39 season, the Kilgore team had begun operating under a working agreement with the St. Louis Cardinals, and although Randolph and Dalrymple stuck around, some of those Boomer baby birds flew the Kilgore coop. First baseman Ray Sanders promptly moved up to Columbus and broke through with the Cardinals to start a 7-year big league career within a couple seasons. Catcher Clyde Klutz caught on with the Boston Braves in 42 and played over 650 big league games. With such talent popping up to the majors, the Boomers bloomed again the next spring, but you couldn't say they blossomed or burned as brightly as they had in 39. In fact, with a 55-78 record, although there were 3 teams worse, the Boomers bottomed out, missing the playoffs. But 2 of the teams the Boomers were better in bottomed out even worse, folding mid-season. And at a meeting in March of 1941, the whole league agreed to disband. And that's how the Kilgore Boomers fell silent. Now, on to the question for next time. Which of these players ignited a sense of righteousness in the miners of yesteryear? A. Flame Merit. B. Ash Honor. C. Smoke Justice. Want to know the answer? Spark your mind. Or tune to the next Ghost of the Miners. But for now, you'll have to excuse me. My producer Ben Hill is getting ready for February break, and I've got to hold it together.
Final segment of this week's episode of the show before the show. Big thanks to Josh Jackson for stopping by with Ghosts of the Miners. That'll pretty much do it. I'm gonna have nightmares about the Michigan Battle Cats logo, like coming to life and eating me. Anyway, what are you guys going on this weekend? You want to hang out? I'm not anywhere close to you.
I'm in the middle of top 30 season right now. That's right around the corner for us at MLB Pipeline. So I will be turning out blurbs and rankings and confirming things, and so I'll be in the thick of it for much of the weekend. Probably going to be posting up at the public library for part of that, which is closed on Sundays here in New York. And if there's one thing I wish would change about New York City, it's to open the libraries up on Sundays again. But that's probably what I'm gonna be doing. Ben, it's technically a long weekend. Monday is a holiday.
Yeah, it's President's Day weekend, and
yeah.
I don't really have too many plans either. It's a kind of dead time of year, a little bit of a calm before the storm type of feelings. So not too much. I took last Monday off and I saw a great documentary on the Italian film composer Ennio Morricone. So I think anyone is into movies and movie music, go check that out. I want to give a cultural recommendation every week. I think I'm going to start doing that because my tastes are impeccable and I don't talk about it enough. So go see that movie if you like to see a great movie. Man, now I talked myself up and then just totally
we respected you too much.
Yeah.
What was the name of that documentary?
Ben was on his high horse after being the quiz master, and then all of a sudden now is in the spotlight himself.
Which, by the way, is a team name that kind of surprises me has not been used by a minor league team like the Wichita Falls High Horses or something.
Yeah,
like that.
I'm imagining the logo right now.
Just a horse with very long legs.
And bloodshot eyes.
Do you remember the name of this documentary?
It was just called Ennio.
Okay. Cool. I actually would.
I've heard about him. I mean, I've been aware of him, and he has such a gigantic, long. He died a few years ago, but scored hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of movies. Probably the most iconic is the Sergio Leone spaghetti westerns.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. Yeah. But amazing body of work. But I just would read his name and not hear how it was said. So even buying the ticket, I was like, "Can I get a ticket for?" Ennio, is that how you say it? And the woman working there was just like,
she's like, I don't know.
She's like, I don't know. Like, go away.
That's pretty funny. Well, hey,
and the guy I went to the film forum to see this movie. The guy at the concession stand was wearing a Norwich Sea Unicorn.
No way.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Wow.
That's why it all ties in. That's why it all ties into minor league baseball. Finally, I stuck the landing.
Wow, that's pretty cool. That's one of those ghost teams that never played under the affiliated banner with which it was rebranding them and the Missoula Paddleheads. Was there anybody else in that 2020 season? I feel like there was one other team maybe that rebranded and then we didn't see.
Those two for sure. There might be another one. We'll to
think about this.
That'll be the topic of next week's quiz.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I have to give a self-promotional plug before we get out of here. Coming up on Friday, the 23rd, so the date of the release of the next episode of the Show Before the Show podcast, I will be back on MLB Network. Very excited for the 2024 Andre Dawson Classic. Super pumped for that. I'll be doing both ends of that doubleheader alongside Xavier Scruggs. We will get a chance in Game 1 to see Alabama State and Southern. Game 2 is Florida A&M and Grambling. All kinds of special guests are going to be coming through. So that's coming up on MLB Network on the 23rd. Very excited about that. And that's it. That'll do it. Thanks to everybody for swinging by. And for Benjamin Hill, Sam Dykstra, Josh Jackson, and all the rest, my name is Tyler Maughan. We'll catch you next week.